So the Carolina Panthers sticking with just making good value selections where I feel like their offense is looking awesome right about now with all of the weapons. So, obviously they, have the weapons. They drafted Terrence Marshall Jr. earlier, and now they're adding Shee Smith, who can be that wide receiver 4, who, if necessary, could step in and be a wide receiver 3 easily, I think. He runs a 4.3.3. That's his pro day time, so it's probably closer to like 4.4, but that's still good. Like, you'll take that for sure. And, maybe a bit undersized, only 5'10", 190, but that's fine. You can work with that. And the reality is, I do think his speed is great on tape, and we'll get into that in a second. But really, the main thing I like about it is just it's a position of need, and it feels like kind of a sleeper. I think that, honestly, I'm a little surprised that he fell this far. They have Robbie Anderson, they have DJ Moore, Terrence Marshall Jr. Those feel like just like 3 good receivers, and Carolina clearly likes to have 3 solid receivers. But what if DJ Moore gets injured? Then what do? Well, now you can have Smith sort of jump up, and I think that he should not be a 6th-round pick. I don't think he should be a 2nd-round pick, but he should not be a 6th-round pick. So getting this kind of value on a player, it's a really good pick. And, again, I feel like Carolina, they've done a lot of good value. Okay, sorry for that hard cut right there. It's probably going to be a bit jarring. My camera guy accidentally hit stop instead of I meant to hit minimize. The classic mistake, classic blunder. Anyways, as I was saying, they've been making a lot of good value picks with Tommy Tremble, Terrence Marshall, and now Shee Smith. Really good weapons for Sam Darnold. Should be fun to watch, and let's just get into the film study and talk about what I like about Smith. So we'll start off with this play. What's going to end up happening is it's a cover 3 zone, and Smith is running a go route. So this is an interesting situation, and I do think that this is something that you see a lot of scouts talk about when it comes to wide receivers, is winning on the outside, winning, away from the safety who's covering the middle of the field. A lot of teams in the NFL like to just play single safety deep coverage, and so because of that, a lot of scouts will look at corners who can, have speed and won't get burned in that kind of thing, but also a wide receiver that can sort of get a team out of a single safety deep coverage, which then if they run 2 safeties deep, you can just run the football. So having a big receiver who can, not like big as in size-wise, but big as in just impact-wise, having a receiver who can win on the outside is just so huge for a team, and Smith is absolutely someone who can win on the outside. Right when this play starts, as you see, he's using that speed to his advantage. He runs a 4.33. So while that is a pro day time, I have to mention that every time I bring it up because there is that asterisk there. So the fact that he has really good speed definitely is a factor. It just is. You can't teach sub 4.4 speed, even though it's probably slightly above 4.4 speed in a, with a real combine time, but it's still very fast. However, here's what the interesting thing is. So on this play, yeah, he used speed to get a little bit open, but honestly, the defensive back is doing a fine job at staying with him, and this isn't necessarily because the defensive back is incredibly fast himself, although he's doing a good job. I would say it's more so just because of the zone coverage. He was, more concerned about getting beat deep. If he got beat shallow, it wasn't the end of the world. So he kind of was able to guess there, so that's kind of why. So I wouldn't hold that against Smith too much. But regardless, not too much separation. So he still has to be able to make a grab. However, that's what he can do. Watch Smith make basically an Odell Beckham-like catch over there. By the way, why do we always say Odell Beckham when it's a one-handed catch? But regardless, really impressive play by Shee Smith. So again, when you can make tough catches and you have great speed, there is a lot of value there. There absolutely is. Like this play's another example. So it's going to be man coverage once again, and you see that he has a one-on-one matchup. And I really think it's worth mentioning that yes, speed is crucial, but you usually need something else. Preferably, I like route running and footwork, but that doesn't have to be the only thing that you need. If there's other things that you have, that can also work out really well. And for Smith, it seems like a lot of it is, well, I wouldn't say he necessarily has the best hands. He will drop some. He can also make tough catches, and so that can sort of put him to that next level sometimes. Like watch, right when this play starts, you notice that he's going to be, a back shoulder throw here makes a lot of sense. It can easily be caught. Although the reality is, the issue with this play is that it's just not going to be the best throw. Typically, you'd like this to be a bit more of a bullet, but it's also kind of hard to do that because of the other defensive player who kind of read this play well for Ole Miss. This is just putting yourself in a tough situation. So it's hard to really blame the quarterback, I guess, just since it's a good defensive play, kind of a tough play to make, but he's going to put it in a spot where either Smith will be able to make the grab or it'll just fall incomplete, which I think is smart. And as you see, watch this, just leaping up. And again, not a full one-handed grab that time, but he used one hand to help make the grab. Eventually lost it at the end there, but he had it for long enough for it to be ruled a touchdown. So again, when you can make a tough catch and you have sub 4.4 speed, that's going to get a lot of teams interested in you. I absolutely think so. Okay, now let's go over to this play. It's going to be a wide receiver screen. You have multiple players going out to block. The hope is that around the edge, he could be open. And yes, speed is a lot. Speed matters. Speed is the best thing about Smith, in my opinion. There is something else that's kind of sometimes goes hand in hand, but not always, and that's acceleration. And Smith has incredible acceleration on top of his incredible speed, which is important to me. Watch how right when this play starts, you notice that Smith makes the catch, and a defensive player does a pretty good job at running in quickly and trying to get into this play. So kind of a tough situation for Smith here. Even more of a tough situation than the current score, which is 41-0 in favor of Texas A&M. College football, it's a wild sport, but what you're going to see Smith do is, again, it's not necessarily about the speed, but how he's going to accelerate as quickly as he can. Watch him just get up to that top speed and runs around him. So again, the acceleration with the speed, that can come in handy. It can come in handy for screens, and it can honestly just come in handy for route running in general and for getting off the line when you're not pressed. So a lot of good there for Shi Smith. And one more example, this is a little bit interesting. So it's kind of a jet sweep type thing. I actually think that, I could certainly see you going with some jet sweeps with Smith. That would make a lot of sense to me, but really, again, it's going to be less about the speed, because yes, the speed is incredible, but how quickly he gets there. And this time, it's going to be with him having to change directions, because he has to run to the top of the screen and then run to the right of the screen. So, for him, it'll be running to his left, but then running, just down the field. And watch how he is able to do this. It's technically a catch, and he just runs ahead and ends up picking up that first down. Finally gets tripped up, but a really good play, and it does kind of show off his acceleration. And I'm always in favor of drafting guys who kind of have these unique traits that not a lot of guys have. So when someone is a fast guy with great acceleration, just go ahead and draft him. Because, you can't get crazy with it, obviously. I don't think you could draft him first overall. But, when you go ahead and draft a guy like this, to me, it makes sense because he's one of those guys that it's just different than most guys in the NFL, and that's always intriguing to me. But yeah, that's what I think. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.